Welcome to Berlin. Thanks for everyone. We know we actually have a lot of people who traveled here from either other cities or other countries, so thank you all so much for coming this far, as well as thanks the rest of the team that I'm with for traveling super far too. Super excited to be here in Berlin. For those who don't know, my name is Matt Milstead. Me and my business partner, Dave Koss, we run a weekly podcast called the Mograph Podcast. You can check it out on any one of your podcatchers of choice. But this is the DAT show here in Berlin, and I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors for sponsoring the entire tour and helping us get to every single one of these cities. First up is Dell Technologies. Big shout out to them. Thank you, Dell. Also, Render. Big, huge fan of Render. Super excited to have them on board, as well as both NVIDIA and Tool Farm. So big shout out to our sponsors. Everyone give them a round of applause. Thank you. And with that, let's go ahead and start the show. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another Mograph Mocast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Chris.
And this is DAT. Super excited to be here in Berlin. Fantastic turnout. Thank you to everyone who showed up. The show was sold out, and we were so excited. A couple days ago, we're just like counting down. We're saying, all right, only 10 more tickets, only 5 more tickets, 1 ticket left. Who's going to be that person? So thanks to everyone who showed up. Super excited to be here. I want to start off, oh, by the way, this is also the biggest panel we've ever had. There's a lot of amazing artists here in Berlin, and I'm super excited to talk to them. Let's start off introducing everyone, and we're going to start from my side over. We'll start with Winbush right here.
All right, my name is Jonathan Winbush from Southern California.
That's it. Hi, my name is Valentin Heinrich, also known as Huna. I'm a 3D artist as a freelancer. I like to do gradients and landscapes and weird machines, and do a lot of commercial stuff.
Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Vincent Schwenk, and I'm from Hamburg, and I do a lot of things, some tutorials, but mostly 3D art.
Hi everybody, I'm Caroline Kattermann. I am actually not an artist, but a producer and managing director of Relative Berlin from Berlin.
Hey, I'm Anas Monson, and I'm also with the Relative team as a technical animator and pipeline management, more or less.
Hello, my name is John Erduman, and I'm doing characters. So it's from A to Z, sculpting, rigging, and animation. Looking forward for your questions.
Hi, I'm Andrew Kramer. I run videocopilot.com. No, I wish. I'm EJ Hassenfratz, and I do things that other people on this panel do, but just not as good. But, I get by. Fine.
I have my mic. Thanks a lot. Hi, my name is Ulf Ohnesorge. I'm from Berlin. I'm a long-term media craftsman, and I'm creating production pipelines for industrial customers.
Hi, I'm Philip Gusin from Novoto Studio. I'm a CG generalist, but also sound designer, and yes, part of this.
Hi, I'm Christoph Schramm, the founder of Novoto Studio, a little multidisciplinary design studio based in Berlin.
Hi, I'm Yannick Wenk. I do CG and art direction, and I work at Soundform Studio here in Berlin.
Hey everyone, I'm Dino Muhic. I'm an art director and 3D artist since 2009, working freelance, and since this year I'm also part of Otoy as a product.
Hello, I'm Jonas Pils. I'm one of the training managers at Maxon. And you are?
Hi everybody, I'm Chris Schmidt from Rocket Lasso. You may know me from such things as the previous presentation. So looking forward to this.
So let's start off with this question. Every city we travel to, I kind of start off with this same question, and we've gotten varying answers in Europe. It's been very interesting to hear. In the US, it's all the same stuff. But here in Europe, everyone seems to have a different opinion. I would love to know the industry as a whole in Germany or in your specific area. Is it really strong currently? Is it struggling? What is the current state? If anyone wants to jump in, feel free. Who's going to be the one who leads the conversation? There you go.
I can tell you something about that, because the stuff I do is totally different to the normal 3D work. I'm working a lot with business-to-business customers and not for the end customer market. And in my area, where I do this 3D stuff, it's more like you get much more work to do, because the end customer build up their own 3D departments and stuff like that, and they need sometimes specialized people that have a big overview over the full system, not just a specialist. You need to be a good generalist to get the full production process. And the trend I see is a lot more work inside of the company, not for ad agencies or something like that. Just they build their own environments right now for the industrial part and business to business stuff. So that the renderings, you do 3D stuff and stuff, but they have a really strict internally corporate identity and design and stuff like that that you have to handle when you work directly inside the companies. So they do a lot of stuff from the inside, and that is a big change, because in the last 10 to 20 years they normally looking for an agency that doing the stuff, and now the trend is going, they build their own media high-end departments with DAM systems, like this digital asset management systems that use all the data stuff, and they're building their own specific pipelines around their internal structures. That is what I've seen, and it's a bit different from the viewpoint. Normally you get some freelancers doing a job, or you have an agency that get the freelancers to do the job and stuff like that, and I see a big trend that the big companies try to hold it internally. Yeah, that is from my perspective.
And is that becoming much more common for agencies to bring in the studio locally and just hire out a little bit?
From the agency part, I couldn't
Or
say.
sorry, not agencies, but companies.
The companies.
Companies building their own internal.
The last three big companies I was working with, they have this trend internally, but it's going from the let's say the medical products, like big machines or stuff like that, or when you have engineering machines, when they build up the machines that engineer stuff. So they build up their own stuff and try to hold the costs inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Just give a different perspective from the other side, from the more like the freelance artist side. I'm managing a small WhatsApp group of like 50 artists on the local area, all from different types of motion graphics, 3D, Houdini, comp, and everything. And that already works like for 12 years. And like this year was the first time that I really saw like a decline in people sharing jobs, which usually just happened all the time. That someone was like, yeah, I have request for something, I don't have time, will someone else take it? And at the beginning of this year, it kind of really went down a lot. It's catching up a bit again. I would say in the last weeks, it started going up again. So the people also have approached artists and asked them for different kinds of work, and also multiple bookings happening. But at the beginning, in the first half of this year was, I think, tough for many. And I also seen some smaller studios, really struggling currently, finding clientele or clients which they had before, which just downsized because of basically just being afraid of a recession or something like this. But like I said, it kind of seems to be turning it back up again in the last weeks.
Yeah, I can also speak from a personal, like quite frankly, I felt exactly the same. The first half of the year was quite tough. And most of our freelancers from the roster of freelancers that we work with did not have any bookings. And that was the first time in years that we felt a situation like this. There are a combination of inflation and AI hitting all at the same point. So especially if you work closely with agencies, we felt a decline there, that clients were not willing to spend as much money for glossy 3D renders. Funnily enough, and it's picking up again, we're definitely feeling that in the second half of the year, certain budgets are available to be spent and they're just gonna knock it out right now. But we found it super interesting at our studio. As a background, we do 2D, 3D, and also real-time applications. And I was finishing up basically the year, rounding up the numbers, and I love to see what area brings in what kind of money and the percentage of that to see what we're selling, because we usually do mostly 3D. But this year, our 2D work was 50% of our studio's income, which is quite insane. Maybe due to this lack of wanting to spend too much on bigger budgets, so these 2D projects are quicker to knock out with a smaller budget.
So you're able to do more of it in a less amount of time, but you're able to fill up the rest of the budgets or whatever with just more work.
Yeah. But that was unprecedented for us, but it kind of goes with the ebbs and flows of the economy for us at least, seeing what is the gap, or where could we jump in right now. And from also a personal perspective, when we saw that ad agencies were struggling also themselves, now we saw many layoffs in ad agencies here in Germany, that scared us as well. So we targeted direct clients a little bit more. And that was interesting to see, because they might not really have a 3D department or even 2D. That was quite interesting to see how open they are for outside work. Yeah.
I wanted to circle back to what Ulf said, because we also see that we get a lot more inquiries to build like tools for our clients and not really deliver like your typical 30-second animation or stills or whatever, but we get a lot of inquiries to do like a design development phase to start off the project, to develop a brand identity for the company, like for a direct client. And then like based on what we developed as the identity, to then build a tool which we deliver to the client. So with a lot of projects, we don't deliver the design as like static deliverables, but we deliver a tool which then the marketing team inside the company can use themselves to create like infinite amounts of animations or stills or whatever, so they can use that internally instead of hiring studio after studio after studio. And we feel like even though we still get inquiries for like traditional CG projects, that's definitely rising a lot for us, and that's a lot of what we do currently.
I've got a follow-up question based on what Matt said. So for everyone here, what would you say are things about the motion industry in Berlin and in Germany that you really like as compared to other countries that are around, as compared to the US? And what are some things that you would like to see different or that you wish were in this area?
For me, I really like that it's like a super small community. Like for me, I just started out like 4 or 5 years ago, and even like at the beginning, everyone was just like super friendly. And I feel like maybe because there's not too many people doing what we do in Berlin or in Germany, it's kind of like everyone knows everyone. And so it's like, it always feels like almost like a school reunion when you meet people, but like a cool school reunion, one that you're looking forward to, and not like, oh, there's these weird guys from school, but actually people you enjoy meeting and catching up with. So I feel like, I don't know how that's in the US. I can imagine there's a lot more people there. So I don't know if it's the same there, but that's something I really appreciate about the community here, is it's so closely knitted that like you pretty much know mostly everyone that does what we do, I think.
The industry seems pretty strong here, or at least the community. Where is a good majority of the work coming from? Is it from different companies based in Germany, based in Europe, or because when we talked to the group in London, they specifically said a lot of the work that they were getting was from the US, and they were struggling because of the writer's strike and the actor's strike. Thank goodness the actor's strike is over. More work for us. I'm curious to know, where is a good majority of the work coming from?
I mean, I would say, correct me please if I'm wrong, but I would say it's cars.
Cars, okay.
Yeah. Like I think 90% of my jobs in the last 15 years were around cars, because you have these big car manufacturers in Germany, and all their design agencies are usually in the big cities: Frankfurt, Munich, Cologne, Berlin, and so usually the artists over there doing mostly car stuff. At least this was the case for me. But yeah, I think the car industry is still huge in Germany. It's probably getting lower, and I can see this also on the fairs and auto and car shows happening around or being cancelled around. But yeah, I think I would say it's mostly car manufacturing.
Sorry, John. I have a totally different view about that, because they are loud and have a lot of pictures. They're doing fancy commercials with stuff like that. But I think one of the most pushing people with money is the industry that built the machines that built the cars. The engineering companies. If you have in Germany and in Europe, you have a big diverse, specialized company structure that build all machines that you need to build cars or other stuff. You have specialized product for creating whatever, plastic parts, and you need all these machines. And a lot of my work was back in the days creating an overview why this machine is much better than the other machines and stuff like that, because giant machines in the size of this room creating whatever, 1 million plastic caps for a bottle or whatever, and they told me it's super special that you have this feature inside the machine and that stuff like that. And this is I think it's a giant it's not a loud
the
sleeping giant something. You didn't see it, but it's there and it's pushing all the time, and it's a lot of money inside that, because all the machines get sold internationally for millions. Sometimes if you have a big machine, it's costs millions, and they sell it all over the world to produce stuff everywhere. So they are not loud, no one knows them, but it's a lot of money because they are the foundation to build everything.
Yeah, it's so pretty much business to business, right? That's why it's not too
not loud, but a lot of money. Yeah,
but yeah, in both. Definitely in both.
Yeah, for us, just to jump in real quick, for us also mostly German clients and a lot of Mittelstand, as you said. Not to be underestimated, the Mittelstand is strong.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. But the Mittelstand, no problem. But we have those typical cities for creative people like Hamburg, Berlin, and Munich, and they also developed like VFX studios where they have they did a lot of Marvel stuff, for example, and also we have in advertisement. I'm doing a lot of those fancy smiling characters for Kinderschokolade or something like that, Capri Sun, etc. So that's also kind of a small industry going on there. But I totally envy the international advertisement spots. They are far more creative than the German ones. I have to say that also.
I find it super interesting what you said, because for us, we rarely work with clients in Europe. So we usually work with clients in the US. And I feel like what I've been seeing the last years on Instagram and Behance and stuff as well, is like especially like big tech companies pushing in the market and trying to get more 3D work done. So I feel like everyone knows like the Microsoft and Google stuff that has been produced over the last years. I feel like that's a lot bigger for us than German clients. I don't know why, but we never get approached by German clients. I don't know why that is, but for us it's mostly US based, yeah. But we've also seen a bit of a decline, and also like budgets get shrunk, and then the companies try to like push projects and try to negotiate you down. So we definitely see that. Yeah. So I find it quite interesting that I seem to be the only one not working with German clients.
I would say German clients come predominantly from agencies. So you would get the German clients through ad agencies, and then they basically pipe it through to you. Whereas like international clients, they come through Instagram and the web, and they approach you directly, which is, yeah. But we have a lot of hidden champions and like Mittelstand, with like middle-sized companies in Germany. They also do 3D work sometimes, but they usually go the route through agencies, and they then sell them pictures and animations. So, yeah.
I think that's really interesting. I like that a good majority of the work is staying within the country. EJ?
I was going to say about, you were mentioning, a lot of people have been mentioning Instagram. It seems like in the States, a lot of people are finding a lot of work through posting on LinkedIn. But how is it here? Do you find a lot of people reach out to you and find you because of Instagram? And how important is maintaining that social media presence? Because I talked to some people in the audience, and they don't post very much and stuff like that. So especially if it's like a big thing to be on Instagram and post on Instagram in this part of the world, like I think people should know that, and any tips and stuff like that.
For us, Instagram is the only tool. We tried to maintain our LinkedIn profile, but it's not very huge right now. The most of the clients coming through Instagram. And the weird thing, they're saying they come from Instagram, but they're still sending an email. I don't know why.
You want to slide in your DM?
Nope, never sliding.
Perhaps I want to add something to this as well. Well, first of all, I also have mostly only clients from US, so I never work with German clients. Somehow, luckily, because German clients can be very picky, and most of them don't understand a lot what a 3D pipeline is, and they think is like, yeah, you can easily switch that. Like, can I see the rendering in an hour? And I have the feeling the US clients understand that better. Okay, perhaps because I'm mostly working with big agents, and perhaps they notice as well. And the second thing I want to add to is the question about social media. And I think for myself, social media marketing is always like the key strategy for myself. Like, get to know people, get to know the community, and also most of the clients are coming to me through Instagram and lazily a bit of TikTok, which is interesting. I feel super old going to TikTok, and I don't know what's happening there. But I started to do a bit of that, and I got one offer through TikTok, interestingly. Yeah, but definitely that's my way to go. And I don't have LinkedIn or anything like this. It's really just social media.
What's a good majority of the work? Sorry, what's a good majority of the work that you're doing for clients overseas?
What do you mean majority?
If I can ask.
Like, it's mostly big tech companies. Mm-hmm. I would say this is 90%, and I'm in a very good position where I can very freely pick clients because I'm not dependent on anything, because I have this tutorial thing going on the back side, and this pays my monthly bill. So I can really freely pick only the clients which I enjoy. So I can choose, like, if I like the product of the client, if I like the campaign, if I like the team, and so mostly
if it pays really well.
Exactly. Sometimes I'm taking the stuff which pays as well pretty good, but really I try to focus on more the creative side. I mean, if I'm already spending so much time on a project, I want the final product to look good. So this is really my number one key of how I pick clients. And yeah, I mean, this is like Apple or Spotify or Google, Microsoft, so mostly big tech.
And are those tech companies coming to you, or is it through an additional like studio based in the US?
It's mostly coming directly through me, and that's pretty lucky because I don't have the middleman in the side, and I really enjoy working directly with the client, because then you get rid of one communication error where you work to the client and let's say you work to an agency and they have a total different image than the client, and you work back and forth, and then the agency says, okay, we are now at a good point to show this to the client, and then the client has the same opinion as you, and you can make everything backwards, and it's just another like unuseful layer of communication. So I really enjoy directly working with clients.
I have a question to the audience. How many of you do have a own website? Okay.
An old website?
An own website where they actually maintain their own website.
Right. Yeah.
Not just Instagram. I don't mean the Instagram profile. I mean like real website. Yeah. Because it's more than I thought. Because I just want to say I feel like a relic because I'm still trying to maintain my own website, and I'm finding that social media and my website bring me most of the international clients. However, the German ones don't care about it at all. They kind of like, why do you even have one? Why do you even want the stuff to be shown? And like most of my German clients come from producers, from agencies or studios, talking between each other and giving each other tips like who to call, who to hire, and it's usually just, we call it vitamin B for who you know, and this is the way I usually get approached by German studios, is because one producer heard from another like to try this guy out.
So how do you break into the industry then? If it's all through word of mouth and not through the work that you're putting out there to get local German, clients, how do you break in if it's entirely the producer who it's word of mouth?
Well, for me personally, it was that I actually started my traineeship in a studio, and from there on, I mean, I went from studying and having my trainee or like a 6-month internship inside a studio. When I was done with my studying and I got my diploma and did my video or my short movie, I went straight into freelance, starting at that studio. And then from then on, it just went on and on.
Actually, that's how I met Dino. I was also a trainee there at the same company, met all the freelancers that later recommended me somewhere else. And so that was happening by accident because they didn't know anyone who does characters. And they were just saying, hey, is this guy does characters? Let him do it. And then I got all the jobs.
You became the character guy.
Yeah, I was always the character guy, but nobody knew it before me. And then after having those jobs, I could turn this kind of dream I have, or what I wanted to do, this hobby, into the job itself. So with knowing the internship, knowing Dino, it started that I also got the jobs and got the experience doing that, and the portfolio later on. And one step after another, I now have this worldwide freelancer client relationships there.
That's so interesting to me because it's like it's word of mouth.
Yeah.
And like anytime I recommend someone for a job, it's like the entire weight of that job kind of feels like it falls on you if they mess up, It's interesting because like I wonder if, and this is just me throwing it out there, y'all can feel free to say no, that's not the way it is. I've noticed a few times with some of the people that we pick up on, like studios have picked up on Instagram, where they really like the work, but as soon as they bring in someone to do a trial, they just can't deliver in a studio setting, And I wonder if it's more of less risk taking to communicate with a producer or something like that in order to find people versus taking a chance and finding someone on Instagram.
Yes, it's also important to see if the artist can provide that, produce that vision in an amount of specified time. So because every time I get contact by the client, I have this estimate where I say how long it will take, etc. And this has to be somewhat accurate. And that's the thing, when you have private work, you can never tell how long it took to produce that stuff.
And they're still looking at your reel as a reference for your work, correct?
Oh, I don't know.
That's so, wow, that is crazy.
A friend of mine has his demo reel, Alex, from 2014, I guess. He never updated it. We did projects together, and I was so keen on doing good animations, and he didn't put it in. I was a little bit angry with him because I really tried to do good. But yeah, he never updated it since 2014. It's the word of mouth.
But that's a good sign. We usually
That
say
is a good sign, yeah.
We usually say if you just have an old showreel there, that's a good sign. If it's fresh and you make one every year, well, I don't know.
That's also a good tip. Don't put a year on the demo reel, so you don't need to update it.
There's a secret right there. I'd love to hear from a producer's standpoint.
Yeah, I might have a couple of things to add. So, of course, I feel the same way. It's a lot of word of mouth and a recommendation from another side, from my side also, when I'm looking for freelancers. I'm a creature of habit, as many other people are, so I kind of like working with the same people. And when I'm picking a new freelancer for a specific thing, if it's a specific talent that is required and I don't know this person, I'm kind of scared. First, okay, I don't know how they deliver. I don't know how the communication is going to be, because that is a big part for me. I like to work with people that communicate well, that I get along with, where I feel like working together is nice. I don't get like an icky feeling if I see a message or they're weird on the phone. So that's a lot of that side. But also from my operational side of the business, it's a lot of word of mouth, and a lot of clients that we work with are recurrent clients, so we build a relationship there, but it's possible to break through with new clients and make new connections. I found it super interesting that this year I made a special effort to also reach out to new people that I did not know via LinkedIn or via even cold emailing is something I tried out this year. And I found it really interesting how well it worked. You would be surprised how many people actually answer emails. It's kind of nerve-wracking sending them out, but I can only encourage people, try it out, get your foot in the door with it, and you never know the connections you end up making. It's a really interesting process.
I can definitely second that, but from the freelance perspective, because before I started at Maxon, I worked as a freelancer, and I did an internship when I started in a company, in an advertising agency. Then after that, I jobbed for them as a freelancer. And at some point I was like, I only have one client. That's maybe not good for the future because of various reasons. So I was actively reaching out to, in that case, other advertising agencies, like in the radius of within 100 kilometers or so. And it worked out really good. Then in the end, well, I had like 3 bigger advertising agencies that I was constantly working for, and yeah, was booked out. But it's a thing of, bringing your foot into the door and not being shy of doing that. The biggest mistake that you can do is to wait for potential clients to contact you. You have to be active. That's an important part. Karan has a question.
Yeah, feel free if... Oh, Karan's got a question every time. Feel free, if you've got questions for any of the panelists, feel free to raise your hand. And Karan has a microphone that he can grab. Let's hear your question, Karan.
My question is more on the point of shyness, or rather a question for Caro specifically, because you're the only female up there. I see there are 25 female out here sitting in the audience. How is it that we can have more female up there? Is it more of a personality thing that they are shy? Because I know there are very good artists out here who are sitting out here, because I've spoken to a few of them. Is it more of the opportunity that nobody has reached out to them because we would love to? Or is it more of like just a personality thing that they are shy to be on stage and present and talk? And if that's the case, then how do we change it? Or is there a way to assist them with training or helping them grow in the field? What is your perspective? And it goes to guys as well out there. Like, what is your perspective about that and the industry in itself? How do we change that perspective that it's a male-dominated society? Because it is not. Because I know amazing female artists, but I want to translate it by showing it. So how does that work?
Karan with the hard-hitting questions right off the bat. Obviously, for me, a little disappointing to be the only woman on this panel. I only realized that yesterday evening, and I was a little bit like, shit. I would love to see more female artists here, especially because I'm not really representing a female artist coming from another background. I asked myself this question a lot. And I had another conversation with you, Karan, about it, but to put my thoughts into it. There are a couple of things that come together. I think it's hard to generalize if women are more shy or don't feel so invited. I don't know, because could be so personal. Of course, the socialization of women plays a part into it, but I also think that this industry is male-dominated. I mostly deal with men on a daily basis, even at agencies. It's basically always guys, and it feels a little bit like a guys' club in a certain way. And that's why when I started at Relative, we were also mostly guys. I was the second woman there. We're a team of 12 people now. And I made it a priority of making it inviting and prioritizing adding women and in general making the team more diverse. And for that, you have to create an environment that is safe for these people and to actually communicate to the outside world. Hey, we're open, please apply, come join our team. And in the case of the panel, I would say, yeah, maybe it is reaching out a little bit more because there are so many amazing female artists. I see it's really cool that at least the audience seems to be 50-50 in a way, I think. That is really nice to see. But yeah, it's an ongoing thing that we all have to put effort into changing this industry to make it a little bit more balanced. I think that's...
One thing that I want to add here is that I already see like a positive progress there. When I started with Maxon and attended like the first user meetings, it was the guys club that you just said, and seeing that change, that now the audience is pretty much 50-50 actually. That's great. That's great. I'm super happy to see that. I just wanted to add that.
Personally, the third founder of Navoto Studio is a woman. And it is hard for us because my heart is pumping. Because we in Germany, we have a synchronization culture. We saw your American movies synchronized in German. And we have a language barrier. And I think the first step, maybe it's easier to get a woman panel in German. Or even just a solo woman panel. That would be help, I think.
Next tour.
Yes.
That'll be the next tour.
I want to say something. I'm not 100% sure, but for me, for example, when I have to work with marketing teams, they are normally just women. I have a few men in the marketing. When we have talks about specific tasks with the marketing teams, there's a really high amount of women in this area. I always ask myself why, because normally that could be a task for everyone. But I think sometimes it changed a bit. But I think some special tasks are more attracted to a specific people. Let's say when I was a student, more than half of the people at my class was design woman that goes straight into marketing after the media design studies, and the people goes to the guys goes to programming and 3D and video a lot, and I always ask myself why that was. And I think that is from the last, let's say, 20-25 years. Right now it changed a bit more, but I think there is a big trend that you have male and woman-dominated working areas, just because of the main interest the people have. It's opening, for sure. But
it's part due to the socialization now, because programming and these areas are, we kind of grow up as seeing it as a male activity.
Yeah, but it's changing, and but it was, for me, it's super strange when you go to, for let's say it's programming. If you have working with a programmer thing, you nearly never talk to a woman, because maybe of the socialization thing. But I always think some tasks attract some people more. And I think, I'm not sure if it's 100% socialization thing. I'm not 100% sure about that, but from my perspective, I have the feeling that if it's getting really hard techie, then maybe you have that. I'm not sure.
I do want to throw this out there real quick, because Maxon, Karan, is always looking for new presenters and stuff. And we are always looking to have more females at the show. Please go talk to him after this. If you want to show off your work, that's the first step to getting invited to things like this. And I will say, I've been on many of these panels, and the topic has come up, whether it be female or people of color or something like that, getting that out there. The first step, being up here, shows the others in the audience, oh, okay, there's some representation. Let's make it more,
I feel like I wanted to circle back what you just said, because you said you're not sure if maybe the genders are attracted to different fields. And especially in Germany, we have for everyone that doesn't speak German, we have gendered speech, so to say. It's not every noun has a male and a female version, basically. Well, most nouns do have. And there are studies in Germany which researched if you, in school, if you teach your pupils jobs, or if you tell them which jobs they could do, if you tell der Astronaut would be the male thing for an astronaut. And if you just tell them this job description, so to say, most girls would never choose to become an astronaut. But if you replace that and also include the female version of the word, a lot of more girls would choose that, actually. So I feel it's not like a thing that they are not attracted to it. I feel it's more of a thing that especially we should try to work on, to make these people feel included in every aspect. Because I don't feel men are more drawn to programming than women genetically. It just depends on how you talk to them. And I feel it's weird for white men to say that, but I feel it's our responsibility to work on that, and it's not the responsibility of other people or minorities to choose these techie fields, so to say, if you know what I mean.
I'm 100% with you about this topic, but I think at the moment we have this setting right now, and I always ask myself, because I'm in this field for over 20 years right now, and that shapes also the setting you're working in. So, and the people you're working with, and how everything is connected to each other. So, and for me, I always think it's cool if it's changed. But I've seen that a lot of I'm not sure if it's fully from the you grow up, you can do that and you can do that. But I think there is from my perspective, that they choose it freely because they like the environment more. The people, for example, from my studies, I have one person that goes to programming. She's a programmer, a really great programmer. No one ever asked about that, and I ask myself all the time why they choose this path, because she was also a great designer, but then she worked this way because it's a harder way, and she also always liked the harder way it's hard to describe.
Can I intervene?
Yeah.
For a moment. Can I hear a female's perspective on it? Like, I don't want to keep hearing from a bunch of guys about. So if we do have a female in the audience, I would love to hear.
Hi, it's me. My name is Carla. I'm head of motion design at Why Do Birds. So I'm female and I'm in a leading position of being a motion designer. I used to be a UX designer, so I kind of know a few things about programming. In our agency, we are 50-50, and it happened by accident. We didn't decide to look for women, to have more women in the company just because they're women. We just looked for talent. So yeah, we have 50% male, 50% female, and I think it works really well. We are very happy about having different kinds of gender in our team. And also I would say, like, the question is also, why did you choose only men for the panel and one woman? Because there are women out there. It's not like they're not here. You just have to find them as well. And you say, women, please show up and say, I want to be part of the discussion, but also invite women to the discussion to show that they are here. And it's not so much, I mean, like, choosing past, I'm getting a little bit pumped listening to what you're saying, even though you're trying to be very moderate about it. But it's also, like she said before, that it's sometimes, or like he said, smartly, that it's sometimes like programmers or software engineers, or like, we were taught that these are male jobs, and it's not changing just now. It started changing like 10 years. So it's already out there, but you have to give them also a platform to show that they are there. And it's sadly not happened here. I don't know why, but maybe you want to say something.
I would be happy to answer what you mentioned, why female not there, because I'm to blame. I'm the one who spoke to them and brought them on board. I've joined Maxon 8 months ago. The first thing I did was look for artists. That's what I do on a daily basis. I'm like a stalker at Maxon, looking for artists. Everybody knows here. All of them, I've slid in their DMs, and that's how I spoke to them. When I look for an artist, I don't look at specific gender, right? But the fact is, it's difficult to find female artists for me on Instagram. I spoke to a few artists right now as well. The feedback I got, oh, I'm not sure if I want to present. So it's that shyness that I felt that is there. My aim is to change that. And that's what I want to do. And that's what my thought is. I want to give that support and, you can say, motivation that you can do it to anybody. Because I know you are here for a reason. You do amazing work, male, female, whatever gender. Show it to the world, because you are good at what you do. So that's why I asked that question. Is it more to do with how or why, or rather how can I change that? And I need support as well. It's not just I can change everything. I need support from female individuals as well to understand how can we do that more. I want to create a community around it. So I will talk to you about it for sure. If you can help me, absolutely. I'm on board with that.
She's had her hand up for a while.
Hi, I'm Michelle. For me, I'm just breaking into the industry. So I come from 2D design and breaking now into motion design. And from what I have experienced coming from agencies is that actually the 3D community is way more female welcome than any other industry in agencies. Like, I have had to fight tooth and nails to be recognized for my work, and often have to put in 125 or 150% in to be taken seriously, even though I have the experience, more experience, or am actually even produce better than my male counterpart, or, you know, and that is sadly also, like you said, a social thing. I mean, I'm not going to tell my age now, but I grew up in a time where you were even separated at school. Like the girls had to do knitting work and cooking, and the boys got to do the fancy stuff with wood. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to do the technical stuff. And that is something that has now started to change in society, but it's started now in the last 10 years. It wasn't like that in the 80s or in the 90s. It was always, you know, male-dominated jobs, and it was more the boys that were pushed into those fields while the females were pushed into, oh, but you can draw nicely, maybe graphic design is something for you. And I'm very happy to like found this community and go into motion design and 3D, and I love the technical part. So I am feel more comfortable in this part than in the normal agency in 2D. So it's way more welcoming. I do have to say that, even though there's maybe only one female on the panel there, it is definitely more female welcome.
Yeah, thank you for reiterating this point, because I think for a lot of men it's hard to understand why somebody would not choose a certain career that is more technical. But yeah, from a personal experience, as many other women here, I didn't even think it was possible or a thing that existed for me. So of course we have to increase the visibility so that younger people actually see it as a viable option, and it's a process that takes years and years and years now until somebody decides to be interested enough to study it and then actually finishing and coming to the market. We're gonna see a big shift in the next couple of years, but only if we open up the space and make it inviting. I think it's a collective effort, and it's not that hard.
I just want to speak as a person of color, like for other females out there too. Representing yourselves online goes a really long way as well. Like when I first started YouTube, I didn't go out as I want to be a person of color, showing that we're in the industry, but that responsibility came on my shoulders, right? Because then other people saw me on the line and they're like, oh, we didn't know that Black people could be 3D or VFX artists or this and that and the third. So a lot of artists of color around the world actually hit me up on a daily basis and say thank you just for being the face. And so I think that's really important. Like if you want to kind of take the lead in charge and show other people that, hey, we're out here too, definitely make your online presence, you know, Instagram, YouTube is great, LinkedIn, like different various platforms, because visibility goes a long way. You might not know it, but mentally, like it's in our conscious that we don't think we could do certain things because we don't see people of ourselves doing those things. So I would definitely say try to make your presence known, and it goes a really long way.
Other questions?
Hi, you were talking about visibility and online stuff. I'm a very young artist, and I was just wanted to ask if you have tips to be more visible online and get more discoverability. Just this.
Yeah, so for me, I would say I'm most notably known on YouTube, and that was just because I like sharing knowledge. Like I went to university, I'm still in school debt, and I think knowledge, knowledge is power. Like if you get in debt the stuff that you've learned onto other people, and then they don't have to take on that financial responsibility, you're helping a whole other generation of artists that want to do what you want to do. So for me, I just started putting out stuff that I've learned working in Hollywood online, and it just kind of like had a life of its own. So I try to do it on a weekly basis, at least try to put out one tutorial a week and just put it out there, and you never know who's watching on the other end. So if you have a video that might take off or whatever, go viral, then you're starting to pick up your own online persona. Or if you're in like a niche like I am, doing Cinema 4D and Unreal Engine, you find other like-minded people that are attracted to your type of work. So it's definitely not, for most of us, it doesn't happen overnight. It definitely takes some work to get yourself known out there. Some people, it does. It's just the way the algorithm works. But I would say, put your stuff out there. Don't get discouraged if you only have like 5 views or 10 views, because I've definitely been there for a long time. And just, keep doing it as like an afterthought. Just say like, hey, I want to put something out this week, put it out there, and then just forget about it. Don't obsess about it, and you'll reap the benefits sooner or later from it.
And Jonathan, I have a question for Jonathan actually. How much is it? Do you have to play the algorithm game, or is it really just content?
He doesn't play the algorithm game.
No, that's not.
Do you have to prepare, or do you change your plan somehow or do you think like if I do it this way, then I would probably get more views, or is it really just I'm just gonna do whatever I want and
no, like I honestly like I do it just to help, and so like I put it out there, and if people receive it, cool. If not, then at least it's up there for me, because I reference my own tutorials like all the time. So I try not to get caught up in the whole influencer game or whatever, because that wasn't my intent when I started it. Like it was generally just to put it out there and hopefully help more people. Like I'm a visual learner, right? Like I don't like to read. Like I learned cinema reading a manual back in the day, but that's not the way I learn. I'm a visual learner, so I throw myself out there visually, and hopefully other people are able to grab that information and learn a lot easier, So it's not about the number of game. It's all about just helping out who might need it. Like they call the content evergreen content, because you post a tutorial, it might not take off because people don't need that particular knowledge at that point. But say maybe like a year or two, someone's Googling, how do I do this? Your video pops up, and then they're able to use that to help them with what they need. So that's what I'm more in it for, just the long-term goal of it.
Yeah, the number of times I've been doing Unreal Engine stuff and have jumped over to a Winbush tutorial because I couldn't remember how exactly the nodes went in the material, so I had to go back and look at it. Also, we were talking the other day, and Winbush was telling me how when he gets an idea or like figures something out, he just immediately wants to do it. That's why his setup is always ready to go. And I thought it was so funny. He said, oh yeah, I'll record something and then I'll throw it up. That's why you see stuff dropping at like 2 a.m. And I'm like, that is not how you play the numbers game. That's not how you play the algorithm. It was pretty funny. So, yes. Question over here first. Sorry. We'll get to you next.
Hey guys, sorry. I have a question that's kind of tangentially related to what we've been talking about, diversity and diversity within the 3D community. So as a designer from the Dominican Republic, one important factor that I've noticed in the artists in my community is that we have this overwhelming feeling of wanting to conform to the Western European ideal of what aesthetics are. So, for example, if you tell a Dominican child, any Dominican child, draw a house, they will do a square with a little triangle for a roof, and then they'll do another rectangle for a chimney. But we live in a tropical country, like none of us have ever seen a chimney. So why do we do that? Or like draw an apple, or draw a fruit, and they'll draw an apple. And it's like, most of these kids have never tasted an apple or seen one, so like, why do we do this? So as an artist, I made a conscious effort of putting like a very tropical influence into my designs. And then I became a little bit conflicted, and I shared this with a lot of my fellow artists back home, which is it kind of boxes you in and limits you. So how do you find this balance? Like, how do you find this unique voice and still conforming to like what the clients want and what the what the likes in Instagram are giving you?
I don't know if I'm the one to answer this, but I have worked, I think it's important to find your own voice. And I think what you're doing is excellent. I think there's so many individuals who can do the exact same thing, the exact same style, But for example, you want cutesy big eyeballs like small nose triangle, eye nose triangle, you go to EJ, right? Because you know that style. I think if you're focusing on your Dominican Republic background and you're pulling from that influence, all the more power to you. Anyone can have a knowledge of just general design and stuff, but when you're setting yourself apart to when the client comes along and they're like, I need this particular style, you're the one they go to. So while I think it's important to branch out and to have, to have a knowledge of all the different styles. I think creating your own brand and who you are is very important. Yeah.
Yeah, not to keep talking, but I have a friend that's in a similar situation. Her name is Steffi Feng. And so she's Chinese, but she was born and raised in London. And so like coming up, she's working with like Xbox and other platforms. And yes, she could do the work in the style that they wanted, but she was conflicted with her identity as well as having a Chinese background. And so her personal work was all inspired by her Chinese heritage, and she kept putting that on online. She was doing Twitch streams, she was doing tutorials, really heavy on Instagram and TikTok. Like, this is the style that I want to be portrayed for. Yeah, I could do the work for hire, but as a, she will also put her own stuff out there, as to the point to where now she's known for having that mixture of like British and Chinese style in her work. And now companies are coming to her for her particular style to do campaigns. Like, she's been doing ad campaigns, and they're not saying like, hey, we want you to do what we want you to do. We're coming to you for your particular style. So that's where like having an online persona is kind of important, because when clients are looking for something different and outside the box, they might come across your page and say like, oh, we never thought about an artist from the DR. Maybe this is something that we want to pursue and try out. So definitely put yourself out there and keep doing what you're doing, because I love the tropical weather. I'm in I'm in the tropics every year, so definitely keep it up.
Okay, so in terms of breaking into the industry, I've been doing this for 2 years as a hobby, so I don't really have a niche yet. I'm still in the phase of experimenting, finding what I'm good at. We have been talking about breaking into the industry here, and what you have said is that you're usually looking for a very specific person, very specific skills. Of course, if you don't have an art background or illustration background, you don't have that. So in terms of maybe big studios, big agencies, or small agencies, or maybe just as a freelancer, what would be the best way to maybe reach out and get recognized if you don't have a laser focus yet? Because applying for regular job, which is my experience, you usually have to have a laser focus of what exactly they're looking for.
Do you? Go first. I feel like, especially what we do, it's almost more important to be a generalist in 3D and to know a bit of everything. And to break into that, I would say you don't really need to study. I study, which was completely useless, but before that, I was already working, and then I thought studying would be nice. It wasn't, but it worked without university as well. I feel like if you do good work, it's the best thing you could do is just like pretty much befriending people online, just reaching out to people that seem likable or that seem you would get along with them, that you like the work of, and then just texting with them on a regular basis and trying to build relationships with people. And I feel like that then leads to what you and also the other ones mentioned, the connection you have with these people lead to jobs. And I feel like that's how it works for most people. It's not like studying doesn't give you anything apart from free time to learn, but just reaching out, connecting, and then being friends with people.
Come join our Slack channel. Our Slack channel, the Mograph Slack channel. There is actually a very big German population on our Slack channel. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you set yourself apart from everyone else who's applying for a specific position? That's a good question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that is a really good question, because there are so many things that go into it. And it really depends on what I'm looking for specifically. But in general, the first thing, it doesn't really matter. Like above the technical skill, I want to see a strong sense of design. So I need to see that somebody's able to create beautiful images. And the technical part comes then later in general. But also in accordance to Yannick, for us as a studio, it makes a lot of sense to have 3D generalists. So if I see somebody with a different set of skills, that is quite interesting. These two things combined already make, makes me quite excited then if I see a strong reel and get a sense of, okay, this person is versatile also. There's another component to it, like sometimes we have really specific jobs, and I don't know, I had a couple of months ago, we had to animate a lion realistically, and then if I'm looking for help there, I would really just go for something really specific, somebody that is keen in animating animals, but in general more a generalist with a strong sense of design. And if you're talking really specifically what should go into email, I would keep it super short. I really want to see your website or your Instagram, and that is plenty. 2 sentences, that's it.
Do y'all do a lot of meetups here? Are there any meetups here?
A couple. There were more a couple of years ago.
Yeah, pre-COVID, right? Yeah, pre-COVID. I feel like COVID killed all the meetups. Like, I want someone, when we leave here, you gonna take it over? You gonna take the group over? Okay.
I always wanted to be a part of it, but I'll never find it. Yeah.
I want someone here, before we leave, to be the leader and be like, all right, I'm going to take over the meetups, because that's what kind of what we've been pushing this entire tour, is how important it is in order to, get to know people locally, all the different artists in your area. And it seems to me like this area is very important for that. So I want someone to take that over. Karan, you're going to do that?
I'm always up for that. You all know me. But yeah, as Matt said, anybody interested, please let me know. Maxon would support it. We always do. We can always talk to the team internally, discuss logistics stuff, because that's what the aim of this tour is. We did the same thing in London, we did the same thing in Barcelona, and we got a lot of feedback that they want to do more of this, and we are happy to support. So anybody, male, female, we would love to connect with you as well to know more about it. Please reach out, and happy to support.
Meetups are incredibly important. How many work from home? Yeah, you got to get out of the office sometimes, right? Yeah. I mean, just getting out occasionally, meeting your peers and stuff. It's incredibly important, not only for, your business sense and running a business, but also your mental health. Go outside and touch grass, get out of your office once in a while.
Yeah, or even just to connect with people, to add to it. That's something that's quite important for me. At our studio, we have also like this bigger space where a couple of freelancers come in and sit together with us, even though they're not really part of the studio or even do the same, not even part of the same field, for example. But just this energy of having different peoples with different backgrounds on a daily basis, face to face, is so enriching. And there are so many times when we're stuck on a problem and you just go out for coffee or something, talk to a different person, and suddenly, it all comes together. Or, the solution to your problem. We definitely have to do more meetups. Yeah, sure. Maybe at our place. We see.
EJ does a monthly meetup in Colorado, and in the US, besides like maybe LA, I feel like Colorado has the strongest presence of
what the heck, man? Chicago's just gonna say Chicago. We're so good in Chicago, you don't even count us anymore.
It's true.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that
17 years now.
Well, everyone thinks they have to do this big old thing. It's like literally pick a bar and throw it out there. I know, we have Winbush and I have friends that they are based in Dubai right now, and they post stuff online occasionally and stuff, and they just put out a tweet or something like, hey, we're in Dubai and 30 people came out. So you don't know who's out there when you first do it. And I know Chris has an excellent story about how the Chicago motion graphics meetup started. It was like when you first did your first meetup, you're like, I want to do a meetup. And you went to a coffee shop and it was you and one other person. The very first one. But like you kept doing it, and then more, if you build it, they will come. I don't know if you're familiar with that movie. It's an American movie, whatever. But I mean, just to say, like, you don't need to do anything crazy, like connect with all these people. You got Karan here as well. Like Maxon's always out there to amplify. Like we just do it in the back of a brewery with the beer tanks everywhere. There's rats occasionally back there. It's very punk rock, but I know a lot of people, like I put it on, I'm like, I don't know, does people get a lot of stuff? And like, people are like, yes, like you don't even have to do presentations. Like people just want to blow off steam. They have a lot of stress at work. They want to just have a beer and just chat. And so, yeah, that's the advice I would give is like, don't overthink it, just do it and people will come. And then you can start to get fancy with it and, you know, do some cool stuff. But especially if you have local studios that are willing to do that, like that's the hardest part, is finding a place that'll host for free, because not a lot of people have budgets and stuff. But you know,
more questions.
You can always bring your own booze, right? Relative Berlin. Yeah.
Hey, get your
no, we actually did. The first open studio was last year. That was quite fun. But yeah, to organize and provide everything, that was a bit of a hassle, but beautiful experience. No? It's always so fun. As we had said before, it feels like a class reunion.
Yeah, we meet there.
Yeah. No, met Chris at the open studio for the first time. Yeah, we have to put a bit more effort into it sooner or later.
It doesn't take much. Just go to a bar. Just say, hey, we're meeting up here. Anyone who wants to come.
No,
Yeah.
and you have actually a meetup, no?
We?
Chris, weren't you?
We have.
Ah, okay. I thought you had a meetup.
Yeah, we have a little buddy group, so that's another problem. But the third founder, Sabrina, has also a little women's group. So maybe you can talk to her later. She sit here. There.
We had a question in the back.
I suppose there are meetups here. It's more of informing people, because Berlin is not a small town. It's a big city.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more about marketing it or word of mouth. Now that you have around 70 or 100 odd people here, inform everyone what that is and just let them know when it is so people can show up.
Yeah, what's the website? Where can we go?
So they have a group on meetup.com. On Meetup, there's a group called Design and Animation, and it's a group on meetup.com. So if you're on Meetup, please join and follow the group.
Come find me after. Let's talk about the new Mograph site.
Yeah.
To completely change things up, what would y'all like to see more in our industry? Cool, it's perfect. Industry is perfect. Don't go changing, right?
Do you mean visually or in terms of the community?
Software-wise, community, getting higher pay.
Yeah, higher pay is good. No, but I'd love to see more different stuff. Sometimes I feel like the all super polished 3D look is more or less kind of the same-ish thing, and I feel we can all be a bit more brave and really go into our own styles and really go for it, and instead of just trying to fit in.
Okay, so I'm going to ask this question. I hate talking this subject, but I feel like it'll fill up the next 10 minutes. Don't do you know what I'm doing? No, well, you mentioned different styles. And here's something that I will say. We're going to talk AI, I'm sorry. Yeah, Sierra. No. I don't want to talk about it killing our jobs, because it's most definitely not going to. I have found an interesting thing when using AI for like inspiration or something, or watching some of this new AI generated work. It's almost creating its own style on its own. And I'm curious what y'all think about that. Is that going to be a style that people try to mimic, or is it just, oh, this is just temporary? Eventually, oh, here comes EJ. Oh no, you're just reaching for water. I thought you were gonna get into it. Here he goes.
Well, I mean, now I'm gonna do something. What was that Marvel, Secret Invasion?
Yeah.
And it does have a very, a very data moshy kind of, but even data moshy is like a style that was a byproduct of like weird crap happening on your monitor, right? And so I just feel like this right now current version of AI video is going to be its style unto itself. I mean, one thing to keep in mind is that it looks that bad today, but that's the worst it's ever going to look, is how it looks today. So it's only going to improve. But I think, like, yes, in the I guess in the quote unquote, big hype era of AI that we're in right now, like, yes, absolutely, that's going to be a weird style that people are going to try to emulate. Just like nostalgia of like TV scan lines. Like, good Lord, how many TV scan line things did you have to do like in the 2000s?
Come on.
VHS.
That's why
Red Giant.
That's why I get my Red Giant.
Yeah.
All for the VHS filter. Eventually, there maybe Red Giant's going to make an AI filter to where it'll add extra fingers, or like an additional arm somewhere. That'd be rad. All right. Tell me y'all's thoughts on AI. Let's hear it. Or not.
I just use it for answering emails and getting my calendar organized, but I don't use it for inspiration.
Really? Why is that?
I'm a little bit shocked about the look. It's always, if I see a AI generated picture, I immediately see it. It's totally generated, and I don't like the look. It's not. I mean, yeah, it's totally fascinating that you can create everything in just a second, but that's what I like my head for. That's the fun part of my job, and I don't want to be spoiled by a machine. I
almost feel like when you do Midjourney, you almost have to know a little bit about what you're looking for. If you just put in cartoon dog, it's going to give you the same shit every single time in some random like generic style. Like, that's why I'm like, I canceled my Midjourney subscription. I use the hell out of Pinterest to this day because you're getting influence from different artists, right? And then what I like to do is go and dig deeper and ask people like, oh, who influenced this artist? And it's always a mosh of like a bunch of other different artists. You go up the family tree, the creative family tree of like someone's like style and how it ended up. I always find that influences my work a lot more, because especially if you're trying to find your own style out there, and that's kind of like its own separate side conversation, how important is that? But I personally like finding my own style I find my own style just by discovering and realizing, ooh, I like the giant eyeball things, and like I gravitate towards that, and I know that's my thing for some reason. And I find that's very important artistically and creatively, because it's almost like if you find your own creative persona, a style, and you can easily break, at least for me, that blank page syndrome, and just kind of get working and sketching things out.
Yeah, we do a lot of abstract, crazy key visual stuff, and the best things happen when Cinema 4D has an error. It's like, oh, that looks cool. I don't know how that happened.
Except when it like completely closes on you. That error I don't allow.
Okay, I like it.
Coffee time.
And with Midjourney, it's like abstract, light. I don't know. It's not my way of thinking.
I mean, I would add to that. I mean, we've been trying to train networks. I mean, use it as a production tool, so reference own images that we had like collected over years, and also to use it as like you feed 3D input into it, and also to be able to really generate a lot of stuff, but based on our own style, make super simple setups in 3D and run it through Stable Diffusion with your own trained networks. And this is where I think AI can be a useful tool for us overall. I mean, I fully agree with the Midjourney. It's not fun anymore. Yeah.
What I really like to do is let it program some Python effectors. That's really cool. And also for scripts for After Effects, for example. I have very little clue about programming, but ChatGPT really lets me think like a developer almost.
The new GPTs that you can put in ChatGPT, we had someone on our Discord today say they loaded up, they created a bunch of individual GPTs where they put the C4D manual in one of them, the Houdini manual in another, and it's like, read and reference this. I thought that was pretty cool because I have found that, especially as like a learning tool, you know, it's ChatGPT lies a lot. I was like, a few months ago, maybe a year ago, when it first got really big, I was like, okay, I'm going to use ChatGPT to learn Houdini, right? So I was like, okay, this is going to be great. So I start asking it questions. I'm like, my biggest downfall with Houdini is I don't know what the F the nodes are, right? It's like, I know how I want to accomplish this, but I don't know what node is, what the name is. So I'd ask ChatGPT, hey, how do I do this? And they're like, oh yeah, throw this node down, connect this, add this. And I start searching and the node just doesn't exist. It just lied to me about what to do. So I think, you know, at least currently, I don't know, I would love to see what it is once you actually input the manual into it and say, okay, here it is, now tell me how to do something like that. Because being able to get back instant answers instead of going through Google and searching through page after page and then reading someone's diary of what they did, you know, on vacation one year before they came up with a solution for, you know, buttered crackers or something like that, you know. Yeah.
I'm going to help you promote your own website. So instead of using AI to figure out Houdini, you do have a course on Houdini on your site. So you should have referenced that instead of ChatGPT. So just saying. So yeah.
We do. It's a 40-hour course on Houdini. It's excellent. You can pick it up at mograph.com/classes.
You're just set, yo.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, Winbush also has a course on our site as well. mograph.com/classes.
I think as an educator, like I've been following some of the YouTube stuff that's happening. There's like something there. YouTube's working on its own AI. Number one, to translate a tutorial into any language. So I just think of like me personally. I know there's a lot of like people from China or all over the world that are like, oh, I like to watch your tutorials, but I have to do all this work to like translate it and add my own subtitles and stuff like that. So, you know, Winbush saying knowledge is power. I'm very excited to, like, anyone in the world can make a tutorial. It doesn't matter that it's in Spanish or it's in any other language. Like, you can watch it if you want to. And there's also going to be something where you can actually interact with the video itself. So you can like ask the video a question and it'll use AI and like all the other YouTube videos on that subject and it'll help you answer the question. Like, did you know Blender is free? And they will answer that. Yes, we did know that. So all that kind of stuff.
That's funny. That's interesting. I'll tell you.
It's free. Can you believe it?
No.
Oh,
the YouTube thing. I'll tell you what. I am continually amazed at how much, and I feel like I'm getting left behind. Does anyone else feel that way? Like I'm almost 41 years old, and I feel like an old man. Like all this new technology, and I'm like, I don't know. I see the Don Allens of the world, and I feel like I'm totally behind. All right, cool. On that note, thanks y'all for joining us in Berlin for this DAT show. I want to give a big thanks to all the panelists for coming up and speaking their mind, and especially all the audience. It's been a wonderful chat. We appreciate everyone coming out. If you want to know where we're hanging out afterwards, hit up EJ or Chris. They know. I do not know. I'm going to be tearing this whole place down. So
I can say it. It's the Muted Horn. Just Google Muted Horn.
Muted Horn.
It's not the one in some other country. It's the one in Germany.
So if you couldn't get tickets and you're watching this live right now, that's where we're going to go hang out. So there we go. So yeah, on that note, make sure to check us out online, mograph.com. We got classes, tutorials, podcasts, lots, and like 10 years worth of podcasts. At least 10 of them are good. So, and on that, I'm Matt.
And I'm Chris.
And this was DAT. Thank you.